It was a busy morning at Lisbon International Airport. Passengers hurried through the corridors, carrying suitcases and bags while checking the flight boards. Among the crowd, two world-famous figures were waiting for their departure: Cristiano Ronaldo and Sadio Mané. Both had been invited to a special FIFA event, a gala ceremony where they would be honored for their contributions to football. Their flight was scheduled to leave in 2 hours, and the two took advantage of the free time to chat in one of the VIP lounges. "Have you been training a lot?" Mané asked with a smile as he sipped his coffee. "Always," Cristiano replied. "The body has to be ready for anything, and you?" "I can't stop," Mané said. "I still want to win a few more titles." The conversation was light-hearted, and from time to time, fans approached to take photos with the stars. They greeted everyone kindly, but something unusual soon caught their attention. Near the boarding gates, a couple seemed out of place amid the flow of passengers. The man, with a severe appearance, was holding the woman's arm tightly. She appeared to be in her early 50s, her pale face and downcast eyes conveying discomfort, almost fear. The man, on the other hand, had a rigid and authoritative posture. Cristiano Ronaldo frowned as he noticed that whenever the woman tried to look away or move differently, the man pulled her back. "Do you see that?" Cristiano murmured to Mané, leaning forward slightly. "Yes," Mané replied, analyzing the scene. "She looks scared." The woman tried to step away for a second, but the man tightened his grip on her arm. She shuddered. "That doesn't look right," Cristiano said, his tone growing more serious. Time passed, but the uneasy feeling didn't go away. The two players tried to ignore the scene, thinking it might just be a disagreement between husband and wife, but the more they watched, the clearer it became that something was wrong. The woman avoided eye contact with anyone around, but in a brief moment, her eyes met Mané's. She blinked quickly, almost as if trying to say something without words. It was a silent cry for help. "Man, this isn't normal," Mané said, straightening up in his seat. Cristiano Ronaldo nodded. His competitive instinct told him that when something felt wrong, it probably was. He stood up and started walking toward the couple. Mané followed. "Excuse me," Cristiano said, his tone polite but firm. The man looked at him, surprised, and the woman's eyes widened. "You're Cristiano Ronaldo?" the man asked, forcing a smile. "Yes," the player replied. He looked directly at the woman. "Is everything okay here?" The man laughed, but his grip on the woman's arm tightened slightly. Of course, everything's fine. My wife just isn't feeling very well." The woman lowered her eyes, saying nothing. Cristiano and Mané exchanged a quick glance. Her silence spoke louder than any words. "Can we help with something?" Mané asked. "Maybe call an airport doctor?" No need," the man said quickly, trying to walk away. "Everything is under control." Cristiano wasn't buying it. He had dealt with many deceitful people throughout his life, and knew how to recognize when someone was hiding something. "What's your name?" he asked the woman. She hesitated for a moment, and just as she opened her mouth to respond, the man interrupted. "Maria," he said before she could. "Now, if you'll excuse us." Cristiano blocked their path, maintaining his firm stance. "Sir, I was asking her." The man's gaze hardened, and he tried to force a smile. "Do you think you can just interfere in other people's lives because you're famous? This is none of your business." "If someone's in danger, it is my business," Cristiano replied. The man tightened his grip on the woman's arm again, and this time she let out a slight sound of pain. Mané saw this and felt his blood boil. "Let her go," Mané said, his voice growing firmer. The man narrowed his eyes, realizing that the players wouldn't back down so easily. He looked around as if searching for an escape. Cristiano Ronaldo crossed his arms. "If you don't let go now, we're calling the police." At that moment, something unexpected happened. The woman took a deep breath and, with sudden strength, pulled her arm away from the man. Her once submissive gaze now held a spark of determination. "I need help," she said, her voice trembling. Cristiano and Mané immediately stepped forward to protect her. The man's face turned red with anger, but before he could react, Mané already had his phone in hand. "I'm calling the police right now," he said. The man looked around once more, realizing that other people were starting to pay attention to the situation. He tried to take a step back, but Cristiano Ronaldo was quicker. "I wouldn't do that if I were you," the Portuguese star said. The man hesitated, and for a moment, it seemed like he might try to run. But it was too late. The players weren't going to let him get away. The man looked around, clearly nervous. By now, other passengers at the airport had started to notice that something was happening. Murmurs spread throughout the terminal as Cristiano Ronaldo and Sadio Mané stood firmly between him and the woman. The woman, now free from his grip, was rubbing her wrist where red marks were beginning to appear. Her breathing was heavy, as if she had just run a marathon, but her expression no longer showed just fear. There was now a hint of relief, a mix of hope and anxiety. "Ma'am, what's your name?" Mané asked, his voice gentle to avoid scaring her. She hesitated for a moment before whispering, "Clara. My name is Clara." The man, still trying to maintain control, forced a laugh. "Clara, what nonsense is this? Let's go catch our flight now." His voice sounded threatening, but his eyes betrayed panic. Cristiano Ronaldo crossed his arms, watching the scene intently. "You're not going anywhere," he said, his voice calm but firm. The man scoffed and pointed at the players. "This is none of your business. This is a family matter." By now, airport staff had begun to approach. A uniformed security guard arrived quickly, his posture alert. "What's going on here?" the guard asked, looking from Cristiano to the man. Before the kidnapper could respond, Clara finally found her voice. "Please help me." She grabbed Mané's arm. "I was kidnapped 30 years ago. He's been keeping me prisoner." A stunned silence followed. Even the passengers around them had stopped to listen. The security guard frowned. "Ma'am, what are you saying?" "He took me when I was 20. I was never allowed to go anywhere alone, never allowed to speak to anyone without him watching. He kept me away from my family all these years." Her words came out forcefully, as if she was finally releasing decades of built-up pain. The man turned pale. "This is ridiculous. She's confused. Clara, stop this." "I remember my real name now," she continued, ignoring him. "My real name is Clara Moreira. I had a life before him. He destroyed everything." Cristiano Ronaldo and Mané exchanged shocked glances. "We need to call the police," Mané said to the security guard. The man tried to step back, but this time Clara turned to him with a look of anger and newfound strength. "It's over. You don't control me anymore." The security guard reached for his radio. "We need backup at the boarding area, immediately." Cristiano and Mané positioned themselves strategically, blocking any attempt of escape. The man looked around, searching for a way out, but the terminal was crowded. People were already raising their phones to record the scene. "You can't arrest me," he shouted. "There's no proof." Cristiano Ronaldo stepped forward, his gaze unwavering. "She is the proof." At this point, Clara started sobbing, as if all the tension of the last 30 years was finally being released from her body. Mané placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "You're safe now." Minutes later, police officers arrived. 2 officers approached and immediately asked for the man's identification. He hesitated but had no choice. When he handed over his ID, one of the officers turned to Clara. "Ma'am, is this the man who kidnapped you?" She nodded, her hands shaking. "Yes, I never forgot his face." The officer exchanged glances with his partner before turning to the man. "You're under arrest." The kidnapper tried to argue, but the officers didn't give him a chance. They cuffed him and started leading him away. As he was taken, he shot a furious look at Clara. "You wouldn't have gotten away without their help." Clara lifted her chin, finding a strength she didn't know she still had. "And that's exactly why I'm grateful." Cristiano Ronaldo and Mané watched as the man was taken away. The terminal, once filled with hushed whispers, erupted into applause. Passengers and airport staff celebrated Clara's courage and the quick action of the two players. Mané looked at Cristiano and smiled. "Good work." Cristiano shrugged, but there was a satisfied glint in his eyes. "We couldn't just ignore it." Clara wiped her tears, looking at them with genuine gratitude. "Thank you. Thank you for giving me the courage." A police officer approached them. "We need to take her in for a full statement. You both witnessed everything. Would you like to come along?" Cristiano Ronaldo looked at Mané and smiled. "Our flight can wait." They had a commitment to justice before any FIFA event. The airport was still bustling, but now for a completely different reason. Passengers continued to talk about what they had just witnessed. Some were checking their phones, probably looking up more about Clara's story, while others still watched Cristiano Ronaldo and Sadio Mané, who had become true heroes that day. Clara, still in shock, held a cup of water that an airport employee had given her. Her hands trembled slightly, but her expression was no longer just fear. There was a clear sense of relief, as if a 30-year weight had finally been lifted from her shoulders. Cristiano Ronaldo and Mané sat beside her in a reserved room where the police had taken her for an initial interview. Two officers were there, ready to take down the first details before taking her to the station. "Are you feeling okay?" Mané asked gently. Clara nodded slowly. "For the first time in a long time, yes." Cristiano Ronaldo studied her for a moment before asking, "Do you have anyone to contact? Family? Friends?" Tears welled up in Clara's eyes again, but this time they weren't tears of despair. "My family. I had a sister. If she's still alive." She paused, covering her mouth with her hand, as emotions threatened to overwhelm her. One of the officers took out a notepad. "What's her name? We can try to find her." Clara took a deep breath and answered, "Ana Moreira. When I was taken, she was younger than me. She must be around 50 now." Cristiano looked at Mané, and without saying a word, they both knew they had to help. "I can try to find something," Cristiano said, pulling out his phone. The officer nodded. "We can check official records, but any additional information could be helpful." As they waited, Mané turned to Clara. "Do you remember how it happened? How he kidnapped you?" She closed her eyes for a moment, as if gathering the strength to relive that dark past. "I was 20. I left home to meet my sister in a park, but he showed up and tricked me. He said my sister had been in an accident and that he would take me to her. I believed him." She paused, gripping the cup tightly between her fingers. "But he never took me to her. He took me somewhere else, changed my appearance, and made up a false story for everyone around me. For years, he controlled me, made me feel like escape was impossible." Mané shook his head, deeply disturbed by her story. "And today, you finally broke free." She looked at him and Cristiano, a weak smile appearing. "Thanks to you." Cristiano Ronaldo interrupted the conversation when he looked up from his phone, his face showing surprise. "I think I found someone." Everyone leaned in to see the screen. He had found a social media profile of a woman named Ana Moreira, living in Lisbon. From the photo, she was the right age, and her features resembled Clara's. This looks like her," Clara said, covering her mouth, overwhelmed by emotion. "We can try to contact her," Mané suggested. The officer took his phone. "Let's do this officially. We can call her number and confirm her identity." Everyone waited as the call went through. The phone rang several times before a voice on the other end answered. "Hello?" The officer introduced himself and carefully explained the situation. There was a long silence on the other end before emotional sobs came through the phone. My sister is alive?" Clara started crying too, bringing her hands to her face. "Anna, it's me! It's Clara!" The voice on the other end was between sobs and incomplete words. "Clara, oh my God, I searched for you for so long!" Cristiano and Mané exchanged emotional glances. The airport had become the stage for a reunion that no one imagined would ever happen after 3 decades. The police arranged for Anna to come immediately. When she arrived, the scene was even more emotional than anyone had expected. The two sisters embraced, crying as if trying to make up for all the lost time. Passengers, employees, and even the police watched the reunion, some with tears in their eyes. Cristiano Ronaldo and Mané stood nearby, watching the moment with satisfaction. "This was more important than any award," Mané said. Cristiano smiled. "Definitely." Clara's story quickly became news in all the newspapers and on social media. Images of Cristiano Ronaldo and Mané helping in the rescue spread worldwide, and Clara's courage inspired many people. Before parting ways, Clara took the hands of the two players. "You're not just heroes in football, you're real-life heroes." Cristiano and Mané smiled, but Mané gave her a playful wink. "Today, you were the real hero." As they finally headed to their flight, which they could now board without worry, Cristiano Ronaldo looked at Mané. "Do you think we'll get an award for this at FIFA too?" Mané laughed. "If we don't, we've already won something much greater." And with that, they boarded, leaving behind not just an incredible story, but a completely transformed life.